Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about the historic November Arctic outbreak. I mean, this thing will be a monster beast. It's coming from the north, very, very cold air coming from Canada. This will be, really bringing temperatures into the record territory. One of the coldest outbreaks of Arctic air in November we've ever seen. This will be probably the big event that marks November 2019 in terms of weather. I mean, some of this cold. If you think it's cold where you live right now, just wait for this Arctic outbreak to come Monday and Tuesday early next week. It is going to be one heck of a ride for many people. If you like the type of videos we do here, we do all sorts of weather related content. Consider subscribing, consider dropping a like. It really means a lot to me. And I would really appreciate a subscriber, or if you subscribe and like the video, it really means a lot. I do these videos for free for you guys, but I really enjoy it. If you're not going to subscribe, that's okay, but at least, like the video. So thank you. Let's get on with the video. So we're looking at the GFS model. Just saying that this isn't just like a GFS model thing. At this point, I would say 100% of the models are showing the Arctic outbreak to a certain degree. Some are showing it a little bit stronger than others. The GFS is showing it fairly strong, but I can't say it's an outlier. I mean, the European, which is usually its biggest competitor in terms of accuracy and strength and just prevalency and relevancy in the weather community, the European is also showing some very cold air. So that is, the GFS is not an outlier in this situation. So let's see what the GFS holds. So this is like the initial little Arctic push of air. You can see 540 getting into it's Kentucky, Southern Illinois, Central Missouri. This is now Friday, so tomorrow, if you're watching this video on Thursday, basically the 8th of November, you can see, though, this kind of pushes itself out of the area as a little storm tries pushing its way through, but it's acts more of as a cold front, but still a little bit of warmer air slides through Central Illinois, Central Iowa. Could get above freezing temperatures into the 50s actually on Sunday, so that's probably the nicest weather you'll see in a while. But then you can see this cold front is just brutal. I mean, look at that, just absolutely really cold temperatures start coming through. Look how tightly these are packed. That means that the cold air is fairly extensive. Notice how this is where things could get interesting. We could see a small snowstorm trying to form its way across Illinois. Sorry about that. Illinois, Iowa, and Indiana, and Ohio. And this could really move into the northeast. While, the GFS is not really showing it developing in the plains. It shows it developing for the northeast, maybe not so much the plains. European is showing more snow for the plains, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. There may be a snowstorm Monday that's fairly gonna come out of nowhere, if you will, because usually it's not gonna be a super strength storm for the plains. Rather, it seems a snowmaker for the northeast. But notice, I mean, with this very chilly air, 510, whenever you see those 400s in terms of the millibar pressuring readings, that's very extensive. And notice how that dips itself into North Carolina, South Carolina, 540, and then we see some sort of hybrid clipper try to come through, a little bit of lake effect, and then we start seeing things warming up, and this refuses to load, so we'll just have to wait for this. But after this Arctic outbreak, nothing really seems of that magnitude in the next 5 to 6 days. 5 to 6 days after the historic Arctic outbreak, there are some chilly signs. You can see this is Saturday, November 16th. If this were to load, this would be also Saturday. Let's move on to Sunday now. Notice how a little bit of warm air infiltrates. That is marked by those red lines pushing up towards the Canadian border. However, this refuses to load. So let's just go on to the European. Right now you can see the European. This is a little bit different layout. This is kind of showing just the temperature anomalies. And let's see if I could zoom in. I need to make this easier for you because Okay, I don't know if I could really do much here, but basically what this does is it shows us to what degree it's going to be below average in terms of Fahrenheit, so you can see, wow, I mean, seriously, some of these, this isn't even the Arctic outbreak, but look, some of these locations are already 22, 27 in the negative 20s. For a good portion of these areas, and anywhere you see the blue or even the light green, that is below average. So this is a whole eastern really country, eastern U.S. Basically, majority of the U.S. will be chilly, excluding the Southwest. Notice how that pushes through. A little bit of warm air tries sneaking in, a little bit above average. Not much. It's just gonna maybe get it back to average. It's just that the average now, with all these below average temperatures occurring, will seem warm, so that's, I guess, a plus. Not really. That just goes to show you how sad it's been across the country in terms of the miserable cold weather. However, if you like the cold weather like I do, then you have not a problem with that. I mean, I don't know if I've ever said this, but I just cannot tolerate the heat. I mean, yes, I can, obviously, I'm not going to die, but I just sweat so profusively in the heat. When it's 90 degrees, I really am sweating. It's just a drag, while some other people may actually, be more tolerant for that. But when it comes to 30 degrees, 40 degrees. I mean, I could, wear a short sleeve shirt outside and not really be too awfully cold. It feels kind of relaxing on my skin. Again, I don't really wear short sleeves when it's 30 or 40 because of my immune system being weakened when it's cold, and that could be more likely for a viral or bacterial infection. However, it's very tolerable for me. I don't know why. Maybe there's no really rhyme or reason for that unless I would have to think it through. But that's just who I am. Some people are warm, some people are cold tolerant. And with this, I mean, yeah, this will just be brutal cold. I didn't really have to do anything with anything other than just talking about my personal self. So I apologize about that tangent. But notice these anomalies will be pretty significant. Also, notice how right here there's a little bit of extra chill here. That is probably where snowpack is. You can see getting down to negative 35, negative 45, not in Fahrenheit, just like below average. So that is probably close to zero. I'm assuming that the average is around 40 or 50, which that probably is. And notice all the other locations, 25, 27. I mean, downright very cold across the country. And again, Southeast gets in on this. Even Florida gets in on this. This is not just reserved to the northern country. And this is what I think why the southern U.S. may see some snowstorms, because not now and not in the next week or two, but in the future during the winter, if we see a big Arctic outbreak like this, say come January, we often see at the cusps of these Arctic outbreaks a storm or a snowstorm in this case, or in the case of this cold air. So that could definitely produce some snow even for the Gulf Coast states. So that would be interesting. But notice afterwards we get moderation, more average, below average temperatures. If that makes sense, and then possibly a little bit of moderation, warmer temperatures. However, another blast could be making its way up here. So I could actually show you the 2-meter temperature shaded with the European, as I feel the European takes a more conservative route, even though you just saw yourself. Those temperatures did not look conservative at all. Looks downright cold, but I will show you them anyways to show you what the actual temperatures will be across the country. Let's see if I could focus on the eastern U.S. since that is what's gonna. I don't know if there's just a category for eastern U.S. or is it just different regions. I don't want to single out a certain region. I just want to. Well, I will just want the eastern U.S. as usually. This is gonna be. Mainly the East Coast that's affected, but whatever, I guess I can't find it. Notice though how very, very, very cold temperatures are already occurring. This is Friday. Notice 20s, 18s across much of the country. During the night, single digits all the way into parts of Iowa and Illinois. Then we see a little bit of that moderation through the weekend. Still very cold. I mean, you can see Saturday, Friday, not getting above 30 degrees or above the freezing mark for a good portion of the country, and being below average for even a bigger chunk of the country. You can see Gulf Coast states 40 degrees during the day, and let's patiently wait for this to load. I apologize, this is part of the channel kind of waiting for this darned computer to load. But notice how Sunday we get a little bit of that moderation, maybe some 50s sneaking up into central Illinois, which is just ridiculous. Speaking about the hope of 50s in central Illinois, is that is still below average. But compared to the things we've been seeing, that's going to be the warmest it's going to get. And notice how come Monday, things just take things just absolutely bottom out. Notice right there where that snowpack cover is, that's close to zero. Many single digits, 14, 12, 11 degrees. Frost all the way down to Texas and the Gulf Coast states. So this is just ridiculous. And Wednesdays when things just take an absolute bottom out. I mean, for the Gulf Coast at least. Look, I mean, it's pretty darn chilly across the north still, single digits, but look. I mean, central or northern Florida panhandle seeing frost, freezes, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, 26, 25, 28, 24, just ridiculous temperatures for November, let alone a frost across the Gulf Coast states, you know, with 32 degrees, 33, 34 in patchy areas. This thing is going to be a hard freeze, 26, 24, and the European, in this case, is a more conservative of the two, so I'm not trying to scare anyone with this. But, you know, if the GFS were to be more correct with this scenario, we would be looking at even more colder temperatures. Let me show you what the GFS is showing for, like, that coldest time frame, which would be not November 18th. Well, let's see if this could load this gosh darn thing. And you see, if the thing is, even if I wait for it to load prior to recording, usually when I click onto record it, it needs to reload because I clicked off of it. It's just a little bit of a interesting thing we have to look at or deal with, but you know, it's all part of the channel, kind of like the clock is, if you know what I'm talking about. But notice the GFS takes single digits all the way down into central, basically southern Minnesota, central Wisconsin, and again Wednesday, just look at those temperatures way down, getting into the Gulf Coast states. This is like more like December cold. December below average still, not record cold for December, but pretty darn cold for December, and we're in November, which that's why it makes it record cold, historic. Notice 16, 18 degrees. Just pick your location and let me run through this slowly. You could see, let's slow this down. Notice how it just goes through here. This is now Thursday afternoon, Friday morning. This is now Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, Saturday noon, Saturday afternoon. Just pick your location, look at this time up here, and kind of see how this, you know, at the end, obviously we get above freezing. This is now a week from the Arctic outbreak. Still, the chill is kind of still there. We obviously get back into the 50s and 60s across the Gulf Coast and even 70s, but that's just goes to show you the power of this beast. And the GFS doesn't really show major cold past this Arctic outbreak. I mean, it's still going to be relatively below average though. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel. I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.